Welcome back, guests, and thank you for joining us again. Please remember that we are live on Facebook. You are also welcome to interact with us on Twitter and Facebook using the following hashtags, which can be found on the chat box, which are hashtag co-ops4DEV, hashtag build better together, hashtag SA Co-ops Expo, hashtag Co-ops Showcase, and hashtag Co-ops Expo Symposium. I would like to hand over to the program director, Mr. Masonabe Fuma. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much there, Amu. So we're having this event on the 1st of May. Now, the 1st of May in South Africa is Workers' Day. And one would ask, why have the event on the 1st of May? So cooperatives are workers, they are laborers in South Africa, and they address one of the sustainable development goals. They address goal number 8 of those development goals, which is sustainable work. And as I was going through, or as I was watching the videos of Omamu Olga and the work that they do, it's decent work. It's work which I think should be finding expression on our retailers, mainstream retailers, Abo Makam, Truett, Foschini, and so on. And so I often ask myself if they can deliver work of this quality, why is it that they can't find shelf space? Why is it that umsebenzi wabo is not recognized in terms of shelf zalapha eNingizimu Afrika? Ladies and gentlemen, I now have the privilege and honor of welcoming our guest speaker, the Honorable Deputy Minister, Nokuzola, Zoleka Rosemary Capa. Nokuzola is the Deputy Minister of the Small Business Development of the Republic of South Africa. She has served as the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee of Social Development during the 5th Parliament. Capa will give an address now on the role and importance of cooperatives in job creation during COVID-19. Siyabulela kakhulu Capa ngoba uziqhamule ngalentsasa yanamhlanje uzoba nathi ubungaxakwanga nto yokwenza nto nje kuba ungumuntu onothando loluntu nentsebenzo ye-cooperatives wabona uba mawuziqhamule uzoba nathi namhlanje. Siyabulela kakhulu mama, mandinikezele kuwe.
Mandithathe lithuba ndibhokise kakhulu kubantu abanesisikhokelo sale organization eyenza kakhulu i-network nayo yonke information that must reach our people ngendlela abazenzele yona bona. Ndiyanikahlela ndinibulisa kakhulu. Let me also acknowledge indeed your leadership according to the roles you play. And please allow me not to go deep in that. And also the very important guests in this meeting, our exhibitors, our members from our cooperatives. My mission here is really not to make any vote of thanks, but I will fail my duties if I don't do that. To say thank you very much for this effort you are putting in rethinking and rebuilding the economy of my country and our country, as well as ensuring that the little that has been afforded through difficulties and struggles by those cooperatives are brought to the light for all of us to learn from and also be supportive of the effort going forward. I need to say thank you to your platform. I know you have just stated with the instruction what I should do, that I should be actually trying to convince everyone in South Africa, especially those who are actually watching, the role played by cooperatives. But you further make emphasis on the COVID-19, which is a disaster in our country. But I will do that because you are in charge. However, the way the presenters, the exhibitors, the speakers have gone through this process makes me feel, indeed, everyone should learn from these good minds and minds that are alike, and the people that know our country have presented about cooperatives. Now I need to make an emphasis on what they've already said. But allow me, Program Director, to just say a few remarks about the history of South Africa and its economy, which has actually landed us to this particular economic crisis we are in, and actually put in the very role that cooperatives have played in our history and must play during this time. I'm not a mathematics student, but I know about it. It brings a lot of solutions. However, it helps also to be a history student, but because it continues to allow you to know where you come from and help you to craft the way you're going forward. The historical background of economy in South Africa has come a long way, being not inclusive, and in fact, being a closed book for the Black people in our country. This being the reason why we remain poor, even post 20 so many years in democracy. And the inequality that continues to haunt us as government and actually impact very negatively on our people as a country and as a continent. It is because that non-participation and rendering us to do slave work and to be minding singabambi migodi zimba mgodi, it has created a situation where the actual producers, farm workers, miners, every other hard work, while it was rendering us to do slave work, it was actually giving us more experience, which now your organizations and the cooperatives seek to make it relevant, that skill, that knowledge must be put into practice yesterday. Learning from that history, where if a township woman has actually dared to sell homemade brew, the police must come at 12 midnight and throw it away and actually take them to prison, arrest them on spot, simply because they dare not touch anything that seeks to be their initiative, as well as to participate in an economic activity. Some tried to sell inhloko namanqina, whether zezenkukhu okanye zezebhusi isikapa. Also, they would be arrested for it. They were not allowed to be, hawkers in their own streets. They were prevented from trying to participate. Whatever produce they would make, it was ensured that they don't see profit out of that. Funeka balime badle, that's all. Bafuye inkomo bazixhele, that's all. Bafuna ihagu bazifuye zibe nkulu zibe ntle, but they must never dare take them to any market. That one is actually making this government, which I represent today in front of you, young people of South Africa, is the fact that when we talk of any effort that seeks to actually close that gap, we are seen as a reverse apartheid attempt, and also of being racist or actually discriminating against other people. Yet the exploitation was actually, and the deprivation of anything was about color. But if we actually refer to color, as I will do in a minute, we are seen as not honoring or complying with our democracy, where everyone is equal before the law. But if we don't make that attempt of closing the gap, the inequality will grow and grow, as it continues to do so today. Well, I reserve this space to actually want to say, Program Director and all participants, what are we intending to do? But let me spend a few minutes again to say to you, we want to be as quick as possible, as instructed by our President, His Excellency, Mr. Matamane Ramaphosa, to actually reach you as cooperatives, include you in the rethinking of economy, and also in actually making a recovery post-pandemic. But that's why I am full of appreciation that I've seen so much this morning through the exhibition virtually, because it gives me an opportunity to say, let us not think about assisting our communities at a township and rural level out there to be able to establish their cooperatives from the initial stage so that they can grow. We might have not to carry this burden if we utilize what you have exposed to us today. Abo mama bebe exipa that I think it was the last exhibition, and the other exhibitions that have been taking place since this morning. I had other meetings I could have joined you later, but I felt I needed to be educated by you today before I can actually bring my speech today. But this empowers me to actually understand the role we are practicing. But beyond that, it actually assured me that don't panic, Deputy Minister. We are there to give support to your people, to your government. We are there to lend a hand so that we can help others learn, including this particular gathering today. Well, in my observation, you are advanced and you are equal to the actions that our government is taking. We are talking about Africa free trade zones in our country. And we are talking about the Africa as a continent, and also we say, and the world, which therefore means you can carry us forward because you already have integration and collaboration with the Africa. And this one must add value that if we are 1.2 billion people in Africa, it means our trading is enough for us. So before we even go out and talk about other countries, particularly those who are our friends, who have been with us over years, trying to assist rebuild our economy post-war, which was apartheid system. And then now, what is left for me in response to the exhibitors and participants is that we have a task to continue with the rebuilding of what has been destroyed by the COVID. That belongs to the established cooperatives. There's that aspect. There's a second aspect, that of those who started and could not stand because they didn't have a leg to stand on or a shoulder to cry on. That they have started, zibekhona, zaphela, zafandwa futhi, zangakwazi ukukhula despite the support. Why? Because the skill deprivation by the apartheid government was meant to ensure that we never grow. Unfortunately, they couldn't change the very, very wealthy brains which we are born with, and the actual ability through instinct to be able to start without having read from any book or actually seen anything, but you can come with your round heart, which is called Rondavel. You can have thirst, you can use mud, grass, and you can have a home. I'm happy that today everyone can make it as far better as more than any other building material you can have. That's a natural resource. The soil, the grass, and the capability of collecting it, which is I can attribute to the women of this country. They've done a lot. I just want to remind you that they were able to produce ipapa by actually grinding maize to meal and boiling water without any measurement, able to have something you can eat and survive on. I appeal to everybody that the issue of the property protection, it needs to be part of that, and that knowledge management, indigenous knowledge, relating to how we have started the singles that we see being won by our people in the country. You remember that it's actually an initiative from rural women. The powder that comes from our veggies, the soup that comes in a powder form, actually zizigwagwa zenziwa ngabantu bakuthi bazomisa ngelanga. We might be having machines today to dry them up and be ready for the winter. They have known it. I can tell you a lot of what was done. The actual engineering is labor, zazakhela indlela emaxethukeni for uba zibuye nombona emasimini by our own people and their own initiatives. Benze indlela kuhambe inkabi nesileyi. Today babekelwe bucala oku kwephini mhla kuphekwa inkobe, kuba kaloku ngoku ezi paving zezithethwa ngelinye igama, yet they can do it if they are given means of doing it and also assisted with the actual modern skills that have been developed over years. Into esifuna ukuyenza bantwana basekhaya, sincediseni siyenze. Thina siyakholelwa ukuba for many years from Morogoro, there was always a call of a popular participatory approach to whatever we do. It is not that liberation movement. It is that liberation, and not us now, who must deny what the vision for liberating South African was, and allow, now that the tree is down, all of us to come to the tree and begin to harvest and participate in sustaining this economy. Indeed, I've recently been in a symposium in Walter Sisulu, and there was an exhibition. Uyabona ke mhlekazi mntanami obundixelela apha uba ndingubani. Bekukho abantu abenza ijimba using, bakhona kodokotela who are really doing good work there. Bakhona ba-engager kwi-herbal products, neeti ezikhoyo, which I'm very keen, once they have been approved through all the processes, to take to the world exhibitions. Let me actually assure you that I know some of the people that were exhibiting belong to a department, but when we go out as small business development, we are covering every aspect of our life in what makes business. Now we're not claiming anyone's space. We are very honest and very small, but we are having this great concept of small business development. So whatever umama owenza i-wedding nani she's taking, but we can still go and exhibit in the world exhibitions, particularly the ones that we have in China in November, some they are in Dubai and all the other countries where they actually have exhibitions. We need also to take those women, those wonderful women with us. But carefully wanting to say, I think I will discuss with the minister, the Honorable Minister Kumbuzo Nshaveni, and our DG Lindo Kuhle Mkuma, that given this amount of unemployed youth, today is a very great day that you chose to have this meeting, World Workers' Day. But reports have come out this morning in the news that X number of youth are not employed. The unemployment rate has gone this way and this way. But mine was to say, we like very much to have accreditation when we train our people. They've done this work before without being accredited. Those who dug the mining, the gold in this country, those who actually planted the sugar cane, all those who actually created these big industries, some of them were referred to as laborers without even recognizing their automatic knowledge that has been achieved through experiential learning as they continue to work hard for survival, selling their energy to anyone for cash to survive. But if we must find a way of actually, I recommend in this a great day of our symposium and the expo, that let's place our young people there, even if we have to take them out of school for about 1 year. They used to say that it's a gap year. Place them in these great cooperatives that have shown that we can do it on our own, so that they can have experiential learning, so that when they go back, whether they are in the textile industry, where they are starting that line, whether they are in that line of food security, all those things you can talk about, because the separation was deliberate, that you do things on your own, we do things our own, so that at the end of the day, we can't collaborate and integrate so that we achieve a greater impact. I commit this department to working with you so that we can further look into how are you going to move beyond giving us information, exposing us, and actually coordinating and assisting our cooperatives. We better work together, because the department has the following. This is an appeal. This is not really thinking what you thought, what you initiated, and what you are working on. What you are working on is not important, and I'm just trying to add value. You know, you are going to come to my assistance, because where the damage is on rural areas in particular. I'll tell you why before I come to the township, peri-urban, and the city poverty. Let me go back to the part that, one, we are saying rural areas cannot create any job, and migration labor continues as it was actually created to drain rural areas from where they have their dignity, to have your own land, to have your own livestock, to have your own water, to have a lot of natural resources that you can utilize, to have an initiative of actually applying it in your face. You have these vast lands full of aloe, all types of aloe, and yet the aloe vera is in there. For the manufacturing and processing to take place, it must be in a city, in a factory. Because there's no attempt to bring infrastructure from where these natural resources are. Now, we've got biggest rivers in this country. They all run 24 hours to the sea. They do not help anyone along the way, because it's just given. People cannot be provided with utilizing them for economic growth. We speak of cannabis. The production is now our plan that it should take place where there's land available. But indeed, it will be manufactured to be utilized by pharmaceuticals for pharmaceutical purposes elsewhere. Yet, this one is a natural resource and is an initiative yabantu ukukwazi ukuyilima. I was just saying, when we talk about now wanting to unban it and commercialize it and really use it as a vehicle to drive our economy, but do we really know how are we going to have the store for the seed? What cultivar is going to be there? Who owns it now? Where is it? So we are grappling with those, and while we are dealing with the act. And you must be able now to actually look for amendments that we are making and submit and go and present your views in Parliament. I do wish that we find a way as government, facilitate how you operate with universities, how you partner with them, how they actually integrate the way you are doing things into their own system. Forgive me, because it is in my understanding that nothing can be transformed in this country using old policies. What has been done during the transition was to do the impossible, utilize existing policies which were meant to suppress others and promote inequality, to try and now rebuild the economy. It's a total impossible mission, but there's no vacuum in government. You come from another system to another system. You come from another term to another term. We are now in 6th Parliament, which indicate we are now becoming a really, it is not possible to know every corner who is where, who is doing what. How people during all this storm were able to survive and to make life of what they could lay their hands on. I will very say it in a few lines what we are doing, because what we are doing is not the real what we should be doing. Yinto nje yoba ndikukhamela insipho xa utywala buphelile. Ndithi ke ungabusela uthoba ingxani. But together we must build stronger one. Yabona ababenza ijim, bandikhumbuza abantu babesenza ugabini. Amasi la, thina sasilima isoya senza amasi emakhaya. That soya today yenza amasi asekhaya and is in a big market. Yes, but sasingabalimi besoya, singabalimi be-sunflower, but we are not processing this. Bendinicela man eTata uMakhosini uba sisebenze kalula. Uba nina you can get more partners here at home and outside. Our people have got land under their feet and they are dying because you've got vast lands. At some stage when I was still the executive mayor, I knew how many square meters Owaptambo was. When I was an MEC, I knew exactly that is beyond 1 million hectares that lies in the hands of rural communities, not being commercial farms or smallholders. That land still remains, whether you call it a pasture, you call it idlelo, whatever you call it, is still there. Those rivers are still running. Impindo zetsitsa. Onke omzimvubu, omthambuna, omthentu. This is our land. Wherever you go, you've got rivers, they've got history. They have been there over decades. Can't we then prioritize these people? Because for Manuba, you go to this village, you go to this particular locality, and you ask, how many sheep you have as a community? They'll say it runs 4,000, 5,000. Go to Singomene Ngobo, go to eTanga, go to wherever you find that they are living on wool. They still have meat. They still have increase by breeding. However, what is shortage yakhona nje ukubathatha benjalo mntakamakosini ubenza i-co-op bavele babe nendawo yokuhlamba uboya babo add value babuthengise ngoku babuthengisa bunjalo bane-gate price, each one of them sells them through the gate. How many trees of fruit you see around Matatiele, around Monte that are not managed, not pruned, actually not canned? Please, I can talk until cows come home. It's so passionate to think about the future of cooperatives. But can I make a promise that, having said that, there are programs, but I don't want to always talk about what is in front of me in the table when I'm not sure how much effective, how much impact it is bringing to our people. What we lack now, more than information, is the organization. We need a campaign to organize for our people because they are ready. They only lack means and knowledge as how to go about. Dala ke baqala banesipani senkomo. Dala baqala besenza amalima bencedisana belimela abangenanto kuba bona benezinto. But we have never built on this. Martin Luther King will always continue to say, now that we are free, go to the people, stay with the people, learn from the people, and build upon what they have. Please assist me, assist this department, assist Tata Ramaphosa to actually go this route. It can take us before the end of this 6th term to count thousands of cooperatives. However, beyond cooperatives, having a bigger role of mobilizing communities, promoting social cohesion, and building the economy that is inclusive. We need to provide means of production, that is the programs we have of a support plan to SMMEs, to cooperatives, for them to be equal and to be ilima, an organized army. As I sit here in front of this instrument, a vehicle that communicates, that make our voices to be heard all over, I do want also to say we are almost in the 4th industrial revolution, having been forced to do the way you are doing things today, of enabling us not to be congested in one, not having traveled and spent anything, reach each other's ear, as well as the mind and the heart at the end of the day. I do want us to plan together and find solutions as to how this infrastructure we are putting out there, like the agencies, your SIFA, your SEDA, your other DFI is that we might have of ensuring that imali isuka komnye yenze omnye bhatale ibuye isiwe komnye. We can actually, and the skill that they already have other cooperatives batete this morning. I think this is a good beginning, though the time is not on our side. Abanye khange babesavuka kule nto. I was in Port Alfred, and I went to a popular smallanyana hotel there, the Harriet. They were having serious difficulties to put things together, yet the infrastructure was still there. You can see what was our homeland, Transkei. You can see flats as economy. they are now being vandalized and utilized by people who are not ready to support this narrative, this understanding, this notion of rebuilding our economy. Bona nje oTranskei Hotel zinto zokudlala zithengisa amadlavu, ubona nje oProtea Hotel, yet akho kwa hotela ngoku unale Holiday Inn yodwa. Oh no. We have seen nabo bejoyina i-franchises ezikhoyo. We have seen, we must go and help people have what we call homestays, because the infrastructure requires a whole 10-year planning and doing that. But my home can do it tomorrow. And I can host Ugandans, Kenya, Tanzanians, whoever is coming to learn more about us. And us going there, let us develop people to people relationship and partnerships that are working. I therefore do want to say, if you go to our networks, you will see the amounts we actually outline, how much we have done, how many people we have helped in the textile industry, in all the aspects that we'll be talking about. But I really want not to praise Caesar this time, but rather try and promote that feeling Uba Caesar is doing good work. I don't want to say when's Elena and because you already know what we are doing. But I could have rather spent more time on the dreams that we have, which are similar to your dreams, and to say we are indeed like-minded. Why not just join hands and run, not in parallel lines that will never be met, that will never meet, as the science states. But let us collaborate, think together, plan together, and then run together. The democracy, that's one thing I like. It promotes freedom of affiliation. Is what is being encouraged. Ndiyabulela lithuba. Andifuni ukuhlala le mini yonke ningawenzi umsebenzi wenu. Ndicinga uba izicelo zam nezililo zam, you have read my mind. Kodwa noba sithi sifuna whoever is coming, because you know I tested that sunflower. No, not the short one, the tall one, that can protect itself against birds and against sun once it is ripening. That cultivar. But when it was stated by Obo Lever brothers, it was proved to be having so much protein, so much carbohydrate, so much zinc, so much every other element you want. But it also was relevant through its thickness to provide, to actually manufacture it into margarine. I think, how many bees do we have in this country that are out there, that are always hunted by our young children and stand next to the road to sell? Why don't we make use of them and ensure that those cooperatives are able to actually produce them in towns and we are able to export it? I'm Andianitanda, but your day today was blessed by me receiving 3 young 12-year-olds. Coming to me and say, Makulu, we have come to you, show us. For an hour or two while I address my nation, my friends, my comrades in struggling for better economy of South Africa, Africa and the world, but starting from a village. People think comrades are people that we can be together as politicians, but the comradeship is a strong vehicle where you can die for your comrade, where you are in trenches, where you cannot leave them when they fall. And I want to utilize it specifically for today to say, my comrades, you've made my day by inviting me. You've kept away for a long time. I also am still trying to find my feet towards the end of my first year in this portfolio, believing that we will be permanent friends and comrades. And our struggle now being that of fighting unemployment, that of, I've got a lot of ideas of what I see, and I've seen over years. I've been in all spheres of government, from being a councillor to an MEC, and to date to a parliamentarian, and today to this portfolio. Because what I know, together with all of us, whether it's church, they've got land, they've got capacity, they are also fighting for the good of the people, and not just welfare, but a peaceful, really people cooperating with each other and collaborating beyond that. The minister has laid indeed good foundation to say these particular commodities must be actually sought and bought from our cooperative and SMSs. We must see them in the shelves of the distributors. But for us, that is good. That is a very good road opened for us, not just an avenue. However, we need skill to do that. We definitely have skill because others are already in that space. The only thing is the department must be vigorous, aggressive in coordinating available skills, bringing those who are actually producing, so that we immediately utilize the 1,000 products that have already been mentioned. And we'll have another day to say, we talk about what we are doing, we talk about our programs, but I needed to voice out and to make a catharsis as to how are we supposed to be structured and organized in order to go back to popular public participation, so that we can create an inclusive economy. Let me actually lend my case in that manner. Once more, organizers, once more, program director, I appreciate the moment. Thank you very much.
Siyabulela kakhulu Mama uCapha ngamazwi wakho. Siyabulela ngoba uthathe ixesha namhlanje uzoba nathi uzosihabulisa ube nogalelo kule program yanamhlanje. Sithi mathola nyongande budlelana utyiwa kombona uchubelana. I'm sure our cooperatives would also really appreciate the opportunity of exhibiting at the World Exhibition, as we have mentioned, and would also appreciate your commitment of the Department of Small Businesses to working with us. Siyabulela kakhulu Mama, siyabulela kakhulu. Ladies and gentlemen, Umama uCapha has other commitments that she needs to attend to, and she has asked that simkhulule so that she goes and attends to those commitments. Siyabulela Mama. So I'll now hand over to my co-program director, Amukhelang. Over to you,